If you've never been on a super yacht with the mega rich, sipping champagne and dipping into caviar, there is no one better to take you there than prolific novelist, daring diva Jackie Collins. She dines out on the flaws, foibles, and fabulousness of sex-drenched and ordinary people who come to life in her fiction. So far, Collins has produced nearly 30 New York Times bestsellers, which have sold over 500 million copies and been translated into 40 languages. There have been many imitators, but only Jackie Collins can tell you what really goes on in the fastest lane of all, from Beverly Hills to Beirut. Her books like The Stud, Poor Little Bitch Girl, Hollywood Husbands, Hollywood Wives, and now The Power Trip will keep you guessing. Stay with us to meet her vivaciousness, Jackie Collins. It's good to be here with you today and with actor and writing queen Jackie Collins. She has lived through a few bumps, lumps, and salacious moments herself, which helps her imagine steamy stories that at times shock you just a little bit and sometimes a lot. In her new book, The Power Trip, the British-born Collins, who now lives in Beverly Hills, takes us on a luxurious yacht in the Sea of Cortez. It's a trip fueled by Jackie's vivid imagination, incredible imagination.
It's not imagination, it's all based on truth. I think that's why people like my books, because they have this feeling that I am writing about people that they know. But I kind of, I don't take a real person's story. I mix it up so that it's my imagination of what their story might be.
And you have had a front row seat.
I certainly have.
For a long time, or for a few years.
No, for a long time, actually. I always feel like in Hollywood that I'm an anthropologist, just studying the species, because I do know most of the players, and they do reveal so much to me all the time. But when I wrote The Power Trip, I wanted to create this little kind of enclave of rich, famous people on this fabulous yacht. But I wanted the reader to be on that yacht with them. I wanted them to feel that they were eating the caviar, that they were sitting there in the sun, that they were on the Sea of Cortez. And, it came out in the winter, and I thought, this is great. People are going to really get this kind of summer glow.
Aside from the twist and the turn in the plot, when you did not want to be on the yacht.
No, you did not, because along comes Mexican gangsters, Russian mobsters, and Somali pirates, all mixed up with this rich and famous crew of people who include a movie star and his much younger girlfriend, a cheating politician, big surprise, and his very hard put-upon wife, this gorgeous gay Latin singing superstar.
Mark Anthony.
I love Mark Anthony.
Just kidding.
Yeah, and a gorgeous black footballer and his designer wife. He's British. Yes.
And it's like Angelina and Brad, in that the two of them are so together they have a double name. Is it Ty?
Oh, yes.
Ty and Ashley, and
yes.
They're called Tashley in the press.
Yes, exactly. The press loves that. And then, of course, there's the trip, which is this beautiful supermodel, Bianca, and her Russian, very rich billionaire boyfriend. And he decides, because it's going to be her 30th birthday, that they will invite these people on this fabulous cruise. And along comes Flynn, who's my hero. I love Flynn.
Oh, me too. He's a journalist.
He's a journalist.
Great renown. A gorgeous journalist.
Gorgeous, but with integrity. So he probably has the most, integrity of anyone on the boat. And he, of course, saves them all in the end, but not really. So you have to read the book to find out what actually happens.
Because your books are never completely predictable, which is why I like them.
Well, that's interesting you should say that, Fanny, because I have no idea what I'm writing next. From day to day, I have no plot and plan. I knew I was going to write about this gorgeous supermodel and the Russian. And as I took them on this trip, I was on the trip with them. I never know when the sex is going to happen. People say to me, oh, your books are very sexy. And I go, well, I don't know when it's going to happen. It's just generic,
Right, but you do know how to write about sex, as if you had some experience.
I think, by this time I should have.
I hope so.
I like writing erotic sex and fun sex, and sex that will take the reader to a certain place, and then their imagination can take over. And I think that's the kind of sex that I do write, that people they'll go to a certain place and then they'll go, yeah, I can imagine what happens next.
But you say you write without an outline.
No
outline. It flows like a great pianist makes up music. It flows. No outline. John Irving. Do you read John Irving?
I do read John Irving, yes.
He writes the last page first. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
He does. He writes the ending of the book.
Well, I do
before
exactly
he
the
starts.
opposite, because in the Power Trip, the prologue is two people in bed together, and one of them has a fantastic orgasm and one of them dies. I had no idea who these two characters were going to be, and it wasn't until I was 3/4 of the way through the book that I realized who they were.
You know, Anna Quinlan once said, "I am a novelist. My work is human nature."
That's such a great quote. Yeah.
And in a sense, your work is human nature,
Yeah.
observing human nature.
Well, I think I've observed a certain, group of people. I mean, all my life I've been surrounded by rich and famous people, and I've been able to watch them, and I write about them, and I think that it is a little bit of history in a way.
It said in one of your bios, her father was a theatrical agent, a Jewish theatrical agent. Her mother was an Anglican.
Oh, really?
Yes.
These things in Wikipedia, they make up things all the time. I was in South Africa recently promoting a book, and they said, "Oh, you're South African." And I said, "Excuse me?" And they go, "Well, yes, you're South African." And I thought, "I'm South African." I called my brother. I said, "Why am I South African?" He said, "Well, our father was in South Africa when his mother gave birth to him, but he was only there for like 10 minutes, and then they flew back to England."
Right.
So,
But
South
did he work
Africa-
in theatre?
No, he was a theatrical agent, but that was in England, yes.
Right.
His mother was a dancer, and she gave birth to him when she was on tour in South Africa. So, because my father was born in South Africa, but came back to England a week later.
So showbiz is in your genes.
I guess
and
so,
in your
because-
sister Joan Collins' genes.
Yeah. Joan just did Benidorm, which I kind of got her the role. Do you know the show Benidorm?
Benidorm,
Funniest show
no.
on television.
I do not know
It's an
Benidorm.
English show.
BBC?
Yeah, it's English and it's hilarious. And Twitter, which I love. I'm Jackie J. Collins on Twitter, and I'm always on Twitter. And I tweeted that I liked Benidorm. And so then the creator of Benidorm tweeted me back, and then I tweeted him back, and I said, "You should put my sister on it." And he did.
Why
So,
not?
I know.
And how many followers do you have, or do you know?
I have over 100,000.
That's a
which
lot.
is pretty good for a writer. If you're a pop star, you've got millions. But for a writer, most of them have, 10,000
Well, you
or
call
something.
yourself a lowly writer, but you've written 29.
29 novels. I'm just finished my 30th, actually, last week. It's called Confessions of a Wild Child.
Of course.
And it's Lucky Santangelo when she's 16. So it's an interesting book. It's coming out in October.
Okay.
Yes.
And speaking of a wild child, the wild child in you,
Yes.
rumor also has it, and I never believe anything I read on Wikipedia, but it has it that you were expelled, or maybe you left private school and threw your uniform into the Thames.
This is absolutely true. Wikipedia got it right for once. Yeah.
Really?
I celebrated because I hated school so much. I mean, I think school today is so much better. You've got movies, you've got computers, you've got everything you need, so kids stay in school. But for me, it wasn't fun, and I couldn't wait to get out, and they did throw me out because I played truant so much. I would go to the movies because I was English, but I always pretended that I was American. I told everybody in my class that my father was an American spy and that we'd come to London and we were undercover. And I made up all these great stories.
So
and then every day
even
I would go down
then,
to the movies. Yes.
It's almost like you were born to do this.
I think so. And I love it. I love it. People say to me, "Are you ever going to stop?" And I go, "No, I'll be 103 and I'll be scribbling away." I love what I do.
103. I thought maybe 104 and
Well,
out the door
probably.
for me.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And for
That's
you,
kinda good.
because we have some fun
Yes, we
left
do.
in us,
Exactly.
don't we?
Fun.